everyone. Welcome back to Actual English. My name is Jennifer Clyde. Today it is time for lesson 58 and we are on the topic of banks. So let's talk about opening a bank account or opening up a bank account. You can open an account. You can also close an account when you don't need it anymore. So let me begin by asking you a question. When was the first time you opened up your bank account? Or when did you open up your first bank account? I think for me, I was in elementary school. I think when you're in elementary, you tend to save a lot more than you do now because it's when you discover, I guess, the fun of saving money. So whenever I got money, allowance that my mother would give me every week, or whenever I found change here or there around the house, I would go straight to the bank and deposit it into my account. And I sure was happy I opened up an account. Okay, let's talk about that today. Let's get started.
Hey, Peter.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of opening another bank account.
Another one?
Well, I've only got two. How many do you have?
Too many.
Too many?
Yeah, and it seems that certain companies want to pay you at a certain bank.
Oh.
Maybe it's cheaper for them for transferring. So with my books, Kyobo wants to pay me at a certain bank while Youngpum wants to pay me at another bank.
Okay, I've never had that problem before, but I'm thinking of opening it from another bank because they've got different benefits apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my previous two accounts, my existing accounts, don't have those benefits.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking, is it worth paying the fees?
There's a fee?
Yeah, apparently to get certain benefits. Or
I've never paid a fee to open a bank account here.
Misinformed. Oh,
maybe it's just a initial deposit.
Oh, initial deposit. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I think so.
How do you keep track of all your bank accounts?
I don't.
You don't?
It's very easy. 0, 0. If there's no money in it, you don't worry about it.
I mean, it was so simple when I was little. I remember opening up my first bank account when I was in grade 1.
Mm-hmm.
What they did was they encouraged little kids to save money, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So we got these little yellow envelopes we'd take to school every single week with our savings.
Okay.
So they get all the coins and they deposit it in a little bank account for us with our
that's
name
cool.
on it. Yeah. So I'm thinking of doing that for
How
my
much
kids.
do you have in there?
By the end of grade 1, I had a couple of $100.
Wow, just from change.
Just from change.
That's cool. I already opened an account for my boys.
Right. How old are they?
But they're 1.
And you opened it under their name or under your name?
Yeah, they need their own accounts.
I see.
Saving for the future.
All right, that was today's actual talk conversation between Joanne and Peter. Now, Joanne, what did she mention? Did you catch how old she was or when it was that she first had her bank account? She did mention in today's actual talk that her teacher in elementary school, I believe it was in the first grade, opened up accounts for each and every student in the class under their own names, and she or he encouraged the children in class to save money, to put money in their bank accounts. What about Peter? He also did mention that he thinks it's a good idea, and he has actually opened two bank accounts for his twin sons. They're only 1 year old. Okay, anyhow, let's take a look at the actual talk conversation line by line. Now, Joanne says, "Hey, Peter, I'm thinking of verb ing, okay? I'm thinking of doing something means you will most likely do it." But what is she thinking about? I'm thinking of opening another bank account. So, the key word here is another, which means that she already has a bank account or several bank accounts, but she's considering opening up an extra bank account. Now, Peter says, another one? All right, she explains. Well, I've only got 2. Aha. two meaning she only has two bank accounts and she wants to open a third bank account. How many do you have? She asks. Peter says, too many. Okay. Now, if you really have a lot of something, many of something, instead of saying I have 10, I have 20, I have 230 of something, you can say, oh, too many, okay? Which basically means he's got plenty, many bank accounts. He's just stressing that he has more than just a couple. He says, it seems that certain companies want to pay you at a certain bank, which is true. I work as a freelancer as well, so I don't just work for one company, I work for several different companies. And sometimes they do ask me, could you open a bank account at a certain bank? Well, they do ask that, so I guess that is what he is saying. It seems that certain companies or some companies want to pay you. They want to give you money. How? By sending it to a certain account at a certain or a specific bank. Now, he says maybe it's cheaper for them to transfer money. That's right. So perhaps let's say, for example, a company. Now, their main bank is A Bank. So they ask someone to do a job for them, and when they pay you, they might ask you, do you have a bank account at A Bank? And if you don't, they will ask you, then could you open a bank account at a bank? Maybe it's cheaper for them to transfer money to the same bank. Maybe that's why. So he says, so he's giving us examples, okay? His story, his experience with my books that he writes. K Bookstore wants to pay me at a certain bank, while Y Bookstore wants to pay me at another bank. So here we can tell. Here's K Bookstore. They want to send money to a certain bank. And Y Bookstore, they want to send money to another bank. Okay? Now, Joanne says, okay, I've never had that problem before. So she's saying, I've never experienced that before. But why did she mention that it is a problem? Well, it's not really a problem, but it could be a hassle. It could be troublesome to actually go to a bank and open an account. So she's saying, I've never had that experience before. I've never had that problem before of having to go to the bank to open an account. Okay, that's why she used the word problem, because it is troublesome to do so. But I'm thinking of opening an account with another bank. You can open an account with a certain bank or at a certain bank as well. Why? Because they've got different benefits. A benefit, as you all may already know, is just another word for advantage, okay? Some bonuses, for example, okay? Benefits. She says, my existing accounts. If something exists, what does it mean? Okay, it's there. Okay, so my existing accounts would mean the accounts I already have, my accounts. My existing accounts don't have those benefits. Okay, and then she says, but I'm thinking. Is it worth paying the fees? I'm thinking here is I'm wondering, I'm curious. And then she asks a question, is it worth paying the fees? Is it worth going through the trouble of opening up another bank account? Okay. Now he says there's a fee. I didn't know there was a fee either. Okay. So he says I've never paid a fee to open a bank account here. Never. Okay. I never paid a fee in order to do what? To open a bank account here. Now here, of course, we're talking about here in Korea. Now, Joanne says, unless I'm misinformed. If you are informed of something, you are told something. You are given information. But if you are misinformed, MIS is a negative form. So if you say misinform, you are giving false incorrect or wrong information. So when she says, unless I'm misinformed, unless I was told something that is not true. All right, so Peter says, maybe it's just an initial deposit. We all know what a deposit is. We talked about deposit in our previous lesson. A deposit is what? Money that is put into your account, right? And the opposite, when you pull money out of your account, it is a withdrawal. Anyhow, he says, maybe that fee, okay, it's just an initial deposit. Initial means the very beginning, the first of something. So he's saying maybe it's just a deposit you have to pay in the beginning when you open an account. Or maybe it's a deposit that you have to deposit into your account. The money you have to put into your account when you open a bank account. So Joanne says, maybe that's it. That could be it. How do you keep track of all your bank accounts? Okay, all, she says, because Peter said that he has too many accounts. So it's easy to keep track of things when you have just a few of them. But when you have a lot of something, it's very difficult to keep track of something, okay? So she asks, how do you keep track of all your bank accounts, okay? How do you remember how much is in one bank account and how much is in another bank account? So he says, I don't. I don't? Okay. He explains. It's very easy, he says. 0, 0. If there's no money in it, you don't worry about it. So I guess it's a way of making the conversation fun. He's kind of joking by saying, I don't really keep track of all of my bank accounts. Why? Because I don't have much money in them. He says 0, 0. Well, it's very easy. If you don't have a lot of money, well, you don't have to worry about it. Anyhow, moving on. Now, Joanne says a whole lot. Okay. It was so simple when I was little. Okay. It was so simple when I was little. Of course, she's talking about opening a bank account or keeping track of your bank accounts. She says, I remember opening up. Okay, it can be used with up. My first bank account when I was in grade 1. You can also say when I was in first grade or when I was in the first grade. I remember opening up my first bank account when I was in grade 1, in the first grade, in first grade. They encouraged little kids, okay? They were probably talking about teachers or anyone at the school to save money, okay? So they encouraged little kids or little girls and boys to save money. So she's telling us a story about her experience right here. So we got little yellow envelopes, okay? Little envelopes, punktu, that would be. And we'd take, we got little yellow envelopes we'd take to school every single week with our savings, okay? So savings here is what? You can have a savings account, which is a bank account in which you save money in. If you say savings, it could also mean money that is saved up. So I think Joanne is saying, you know, you can have some coins or even some bills, whatever money that she had saved up, she would take it and put it in a yellow envelope, and they would put it in the bank account. Okay, so one more time. We got little yellow envelopes, and we take to school every single week with our savings. Okay, let's move on. So they'd get all the coins and they deposit it, okay, in a little bank account for us with our names on it. Let's take a look at this sentence, okay? Let's kind of break it up. In the beginning, she says, so they would get all the coins. They would collect all the coins or the change that the little kids would bring, And they'd deposit it. They would put it in a little bank account for them with our names on it, okay? So name, okay, is on what? We're talking about the bank accounts, okay, with our names on it. And then she says, yeah, so I'm thinking, okay, of doing that for my kids. I think it's a good idea. I'm thinking of doing that for my kids. And that would be what? Making little envelopes or opening a bank account for her children in the future to save money in. Now, Peter says, how much did you have in there? Okay, we're talking about the bank account when she was little. She says, by the end of grade 1, by the time she was finished with grade 1, I had a couple of $100. Wow, that's a lot of money. A couple of, it can mean two. A couple means two, a pair. But if you say a couple of, it usually means more than two, but probably less than 5. So from 2 to even 5, you can say a couple of. So I had a couple of $100, perhaps $200, $300, or even $400 in that account. And then Peter says, wow, just from change? Okay, change. Joanne mentioned that they would get all the coins and put it in a little bank account. They would get all the coins. Another word for coins is change. We're talking about 잔돈. So he says, wow, just from change, you were able to save a couple of $100. And he says, that's cool. I already opened an account for my boys. Okay, you can open an account for yourself or even for somebody else. But he has opened an account for his little boys already. Now, of course, Joanne says, right, meaning I understand. How old are they? And he says they're 1. Right, they're twins. Okay, so you can say they're 1 or they're a year old. Okay, moving on to what else they talk about. She says, and you opened it under their name or under yours. It's a question. You can open an account under somebody's name. So she's saying, and you opened the bank account under their name or under yours. Well, Peter says they need their own accounts and finishes by saying saving for the future. Now, in this last sentence, what is his answer? Now, Joanne is asked a question. Did you open the bank account under their names or your name? And he says they need their own accounts. So you can tell that he is saying that he opened bank accounts for his little boys under their names. Got it? Okay, that is a wrap for today's actual talk. Take a listen one more time.
Hey, Peter.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of opening another bank account.
Another one?
Well, I've only got 2. How many do you have?
Too many.
Too many?
Yeah, and it seems that certain companies want to pay you at a certain bank.
Oh.
Maybe it's cheaper for them for transferring. So with my books, Kyobo wants to pay me at a certain bank while Youngpum wants to pay me at another bank.
Okay, I've never had that problem before, but I'm thinking of opening from another bank because they've got different benefits apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my previous 2 accounts, my existing accounts, don't have those benefits.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking, is it worth paying the fees?
There's
per
a
year?
fee?
Yeah, apparently to get certain benefits. Or
I've never
unless
paid a
I've
fee to
been
open a bank account here.
misinformed. Oh,
Maybe it's just a initial deposit.
Oh, initial deposit. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I think so.
How do you keep track of all your bank accounts?
I don't.
You don't?
It's very easy. 0, 0. If there's no money in it, you don't worry about it.
I mean, it was so simple when I was little. I remember opening up my first bank account when I was in grade 1. What they did was they encouraged little kids to save money, obviously. So we got these little yellow envelopes we'd take to school every single week with our savings.
Okay.
So they get all the coins and they deposit it in a little bank account for us
Oh,
with our
that's
name
cool.
on it. Yeah. So I'm thinking of doing that for
How
my
much
kids.
do you have in there?
Oh, by the end of grade 1, I had a couple of $100.
Wow, just from
Yeah,
change.
just from change.
That's cool. I already opened an account for my boys.
Right, how old are they?
But they're one.
And you opened it under their name or under your name?
Yeah, they need their own accounts.
I see.
Saving for the future.
Welcome back, everyone. Are you ready for today's actual expressions, some vocab and patterns? Let's take a look at some vocab we have for you. Benefit, it's quite easy, but a synonym for it is advantage, like a bonus. Benefit, benefit. What about to be misinformed? Remember, Joanne said, maybe I was misinformed, or she says, unless I was misinformed. Misinformed, and some synonyms are misled or even misguided. It means to be given wrong or false information, incorrect information. Okay? What about envelope? Now this is a very easy word, as I mentioned, 봉투, right? We say 편지 봉투, which is also an envelope, but I have picked this because this word can be pronounced two different ways. As you see, it can be pronounced with an ENN sound or with an AHN on sound. I prefer to say envelope. Okay, it's up to you. You can choose whichever. Let's practice it 2 times each. Envelope, envelope, or on, envelope, envelope. It sounds very similar to ON as an off and on. Okay, one more time. Envelope. Good job. And here we have savings as well, especially saving with an S is a noun and it's money that is saved up. Okay, let's move on to some patterns. Now, open an account with plus bank. So this is a pattern you can make use of when you want to talk about opening a bank account at a certain bank or with a certain bank. Let's take a look at some sentences. I opened an account with EBS Bank. So this means you went to EBS Bank and opened a bank account there, okay, with that bank. I opened an account with EBS eBank. Okay, one more. I'm thinking of opening an account with a different bank. So in this case, you are talking about a situation where you have a bank account already, but you're thinking about opening a bank account with another, a different bank. What about this one? Open an account for someone. Okay, this is what Peter was talking about. He opened bank accounts for his little boys, right? Here's a sentence. My parents opened an account for me when I was 10. One more time. My parents opened an account for me when I was 10. Okay, so add for somebody or someone. What about this one? I will open an account for my son soon. So, one more time. I will open an account for my son very soon. Okay, here is one more pattern, also starting with open an account. This time it is under a certain name. Okay, so here is a sample sentence. I opened an account under my mother's name. Okay, which means the bank account you opened is under somebody's name. Okay, it has your mother's name written on it. One more time. I opened an account under my mother's name. And here is one final sentence. It's a question. Can I open an account under someone else's name? This is a question you can ask when you go to a bank, for example, and you want to use somebody else's name to open that bank account. Let's practice it 2 times. Can I open an account under someone else's name? Can I open an account under someone else's name? Not my name, but someone else's name. Okay? All right, so please do practice these patterns on your own, and that is a wrap. Great job.
So setting up a bank account in Korea is actually really straightforward and easy. At my university campus, they actually have a branch there. So I just went in with my passport and signed a few forms, and they were able to give me my bank book by the next day. But you'll soon realize that if you get the alien registration card, you'll be able to do a lot more, like online banking, mobile banking. You'll be able to have your own pay card, often through your student card. So that's really convenient. One interesting thing about the Ewha Women's University branch of their bank is they have all the regular things in the waiting room, like magazines and books, but they also have nail polish. So I think that's something that you'll only find maybe at a women's university. So you can always sit there, do your nail polish, or remove it right before you get your new bank book.
Opening up a bank account in a foreign country could be difficult, so we asked that question to Kayla. Now let's find out what she said. Okay, I've picked out about 3 sentences from today's actual story. Now, Kayla said, setting up a bank account in Korea. Now, to set something up is what? To get something ready, which is another way of saying opening up. Setting up a bank account in Korea was really straightforward and easy. Straightforward, it means direct, very simple. It's not complicated. So straightforward and easy, yeah, they have a very similar meaning. So she's saying it was quite easy to open a bank account in Korea. Moving on, they were able to give me my bank book by the next day. All right. So she is, I guess, stressing the fact that it was very straightforward and easy to open or set up a bank account in Korea. The they here are the people working at the bank. They were able to give me my bank book. Okay, that's 통장, okay, by the next day. So, ta-da, she goes in, and the next day she had a bank account. Job well done.
So setting up a bank account in Korea is actually really straightforward and easy. At my university campus, they actually have a branch there. So I just went in with my passport and signed a few forms, and they were able to give me my bank book by the next day. But you'll soon realize that if you get the alien registration card, you'll be able to do a lot more, like online banking, mobile banking. You'll be able to have your own pay card, often through your student card. So that's really convenient. One interesting thing about the Ewha Women's University branch of their bank is they have all the regular things in the waiting room, like magazines and books, but they also have nail polish. So I think that's something that you'll only find maybe at a women's university. So you can always sit there, do your nail polish, or remove it right before you get your new bank book.
Now today we talked about opening a bank account or opening up a bank account. Perhaps you can use the patterns we learned today and the expressions and even talk about closing an account as well. I think that would be fun. Okay, next time I'll be joining you to talk about purchasing things, buying things online. So think about whether you do that often or not, and we can talk all about it next time. Please come to our homepage, visit us at www.ebse.co.kr, and while you're there, check out Actual English. That is a wrap for today. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again next time. Bye, everyone.